it was a 20-year-old female patient that was ejected from a SUV. Hello, my name is Jeremy. I'm a paramedic and current nursing student, and welcome to The Real Truth. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It really helps out with the channel. We upload videos every Wednesday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and let's go ahead and get started with the video. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how medics deal with death. There's 3 different scenarios that come, in particular, that come to mind for me. The first one, I'm going to go in order, basically like the most recent one to the most traumatizing one. So the most traumatizing one I'll share at the end of the video and then go from there. So the first one, it was the first one was the most recent one, was a 31-year-old male patient. Had appeared from before our arrival. Appeared to be having massive chest pain. Arrived on scene. He was unresponsive. Fell on the ground. Came to the scene. Grabbed my airway bag. Gave me med bag. And I come inside and I see the relative doing chest compressions. So I get my partner to basically start compressions. We open up the shirt. We start compressions. I put the pads on. We shock twice. Additional resources like a fire department was basically coming through to help us out. Shocked twice. Intubated on scene. And we got on board round the epi and stuff, right? So got him on the stretcher, got him intubated. Vital signs are low, but it's still there, still got a pulse. Patient vomits through the tube. We had to go there and suction him out. Basically, it's just like a vacuum suction to basically get all the vomit pretty much out to clear the airways so they can still breathe. So we get him on the back of the stretch. They get him in the back of the ambulance, get him to the hospital, and they continue compressions for about a good 10 or 15 minutes. Out of cold. So that one particularly kind of sucked to me because at the time span I was 31 and the male was 31 as well, and I got like 2 kids. I can only imagine if he was a 31-year-old that was coming down from New York down to the Florida area. He was pretty much a sunburn, and he was visiting relatives. He apparently had like 2 kids and that's whatnot. So it was very similar to my own situation. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old at home. So yeah, it was like, wow, like usually in those cases right there, there's like, when they're in that state, it's really hard to bring them back in general, but they say statistically, the 60 or 70-year-olds that have like chest pain and then pass out have a higher chance of survival than the younger ones because their tissues are used to being damaged, and it's a sudden shock for the new ones. So like for the time span for what I basically did at that point, because I still think about it to this day, I speak to my coworkers, speak to my wife, and it's try to take it a day at a time. There's no harm if you need to basically do any mental health counseling and go from there. All right, so second one was the first one I had to deal with as a paramedic. This one was a 52-year-old male patient, unresponsive. The nurse's aide was basically over there and said that he just collapsed on the ground. So I get over there, check for a pulse, no pulse, have my airway bag, have my life pack, get over there, shock him, intubate him. Additional resources come out. We get him on a sheet because he was on the 2nd floor. Go downstairs. We basically get an IV. We pushed around the epi. Seemed like we had a pulse. Seemed like we brought him back. But when we got to the hospital, he passed. Me as a medic, at that time span, I'm not I'm thinking, man, like what else more can I do? I looked over the protocols like 4, 5, or 6 different times, making sure I didn't skip a step. And no, it's just when they're at that level, they have a low statistic of survival. So that one I personally had to basically talk to someone, or just because you don't want to, as a medic, you see a certain amount and you have to be able to talk to other people who experience the same thing. Yes, you have your family at home, but in all reality, unless they're in the same field, they're not going to understand what you're going through. So the best way you can go about it is to either speak to a mental health counselor, or speak to a debriefing, or someone who was with you during the incident, and talk about it. It helped me out a lot, and it went from there. So, and the last scenario, which was the most traumatic, was when I was an EMT, which is the level before you are a paramedic. And this one hits home even to this day, because I was 20 years old, and it was a 20-year-old female patient that was ejected from a SUV. SUV rolled over, and I was working for a local ambulance company, so I wasn't responding 911 to it. But the highway was blocked. The police officers was basically over there, and they seen that we were the ambulance, and it was like, okay, go. So we go over there. My partner grabs the backboard. I grab the med bag, and I grab the airway bag, and we see her on the ground, like having agonal respirations, which is pretty much just like, if you ever seen the fish coming out of water and having that occasional gasp of air, that's what she was at. So fire department came in. We was like a basic life support unit, so we was just doing CPR. They came, and then they intubated. We got a line, hanged the dopamine drip, and then we actually called a copter, called a trauma alert, got them on the copter, and we noticed that they took our O2 oxygen tank. And working with a local ambulance company, we have to get it back because it's their property. So we go back over there because it was close by, and we say like, hey, yeah, well, how's the 20-year-old that was basically came in and verified? It's like, yeah, unfortunately, when she get over there, she passed. So that one kind of hit me really hard, because it was like, I'm hyped up, motivated, I'm trained to basically try to save lives, and the first call that I get as a healthcare professional in general, she died. So I'm like, yo, is there something more I could have done? I need to do something more. I spoke to my teachers because they knew more at the time span, and at the time span there's a huge gap between knowledge between an EMT and a paramedic. And my paramedic instructor was paramedic and also a nurse, a paramedic for 20 years and also a nurse for 20 years afterwards. And she pretty much just said, hey, yeah, you did the best you can do. Sometimes it's just the way it is. But it wasn't just the fact that we were the same age. It was the fact that we were the same age, female, and it would seem like we could have been at the same places in life. And it was and you never forget your first death experience. So I thought I'd pretty much share that real quick. If you want to go, that's the reason why I say, like, it's never, I think it's more of like a strength if you consider mental health. If you experience that, consider the briefings, go through the motions, because if you don't, you're only hurting yourself. One of the therapists that I ran across, they basically said that, like, okay, if you had a physical wound and you're bleeding, you're gonna want to stop the bleeding, right? The way mental health works is, if you have an unresolved issue and you leave it alone, it's only going to get worse. So why not try to start the resources to help that out? So tell me your thoughts about this topic. Tell me how you would handle this stuff. like, comment, and subscribe, and introduce yourself in the comments below. We're a community. And see you in the next video. More content on the way.